This is Bison Entertainment, and I am your host, Destinee Coburn. Today, we are with
11 Tha Outcast.
And we will be talking about his life, his artistry, and what he has coming up. How did you get into rapping? Where did you start?
So I have a very musical family. My father he brought me around all the time. He was an organist he's actually the head of music at our church when I was growing up. And he just had me around all the time, so I feel like that kind of rubbed off on me. And then in middle school, I did a lot of poetry. I had a teacher that he kind of forced us to do poetry slams, so I guess that's kind of where my writing came from.
Yeah.
But it wasn't. I didn't really start making music until my freshman year of high school, where I guess I just kind of fell into it. Like, my friend was doing it, and I was like, that looks easy, I could do that. I had GarageBand on my computer, so I just kind of, shout out GarageBand.
The story behind your name.
Right, so 11 Tha Outcast, I actually just started out with being 11, but I added on the Outcast later. It just felt like it was necessary, I don't know. But 11, so 11 stands for duality and balance, and it's also kind of like, think of a parallel. So my music is a reflection of myself, kind of like a extension of myself in a way. Like, when I look at if you look at my music or you listen to my music, you will hear or see me, like my heart, my soul. That's kind of how I view music, honestly. That's the 11. The Outcast part is just taking your individuality, if that makes sense. Claiming your individuality, that's the word I was looking for. That's what it is, not really falling to people's expectations. Growing up in Chicago, I feel like people kind of expect you to be a certain way, so I didn't really grow up that way.
What certain way, if you don't mind me asking?
Well, Chicago just has a very, what's the word? I don't know, it's just a very dark type of energy. You're expected to be this kind of street guy or whatever, and I grew up on the South Side. I grew up around, that environment, but I didn't necessarily have that upbringing, but I still grew up in that environment. So certain things that other people did, I didn't really do, just to make it simple. And even with my music and how I approach my music, I try to approach it from a different standpoint, or from just one that's more unique to myself.
What would you, do you feel like your message translates like easier here at Howard? How was that shift from making music in Chicago to making music and collaborating with artists here? How's that sort of shift?
I don't know, it has its pros and its cons. I will say, just being in a new environment, I might not necessarily know where to look for certain things, or, it's a new network. It's a new environment of people, so I have to, meet different people. I actually have to go out and meet people and, like, find stuff.
Networking.
We
love it.
The great word of networking. Whereas, like, in Chicago, a lot of people kind of grew up together, or a lot of people have mutuals. Like, if I might not know this person, but I know you and you know that person, or I went to school with this person, or.
And I feel like that's something a lot of artists struggle with, is like, you have this beautiful thing that you want to produce, you want to give, this sort of new chapter of your life you want to enter in being an artist, but then you have to put yourself out there, and then you have to make connections, then you have to be friends, and it's like, how do you approach that fear of putting yourself out there when you've already known what it's felt like to be an outcast, to be an anomaly?
Well, I will say, growing up, I was definitely more on the shyer side, just because, I don't know, I felt like I didn't really know what I wanted. I didn't really know what I wanted to do in life, or I didn't really know what made me me. So I don't know, I was always a little shy when I was growing up. But I don't know, music has been one of those things where it forced me to put myself out there. Like, you're not gonna be the next, big thing if you're scared to go talk to people about your music, or you're scared to go perform or be on a stage, or even do something like this where, like, you can't. Fear will hold you back from doing a lot of stuff or achieving your goals. So I think I just came to that, maybe a couple of years ago when I started it, and ever since then I've been able to look at things a little differently and put myself out there.
Often we talk about where an artist's responsibility lies, and something that you were talking about a lot was that you felt responsible over yourself, in the sense that you knew you were different, you knew what you wanted to put out was different, and so you kind of owed it to yourself to be truthful in your artistry. how would you say, do you think artists are also responsible for other people in that regard?
That's a
How
good question.
do you use your artistry to advocate, if you even do?
I'd say you can't expect an artist to do that, but it's definitely good. Like if an artist is using their platform to push something that's supporting their people, then that's always a plus. And that's something that I want to do. I don't want to do it in I want to do it in a way that's like significant to me and where I'm from, though, if that makes sense. Like I don't necessarily want to do it in a way that feels like a cash grab or feels like I'm trying to push something that I don't really know much about. Like I would definitely encourage all artists, like if you're gonna talk about anything, like definitely know what you're talking about, definitely like have that knowledge, because I would hate to, make a song where I'm talking about something and it's not really like an experience that I've experienced or that I know somebody that has experienced that. So yeah, I would say it's important, but I wouldn't necessarily, like, at the end of the day, not all artists that's not everybody's art. So
That's
you
true.
can't expect that from every artist.
I think that's a great outlook to have, especially if I think you owe it to yourself first before you take that step.
Yeah.
Let's talk about "Don't Really Matter." Am I saying that the song
Don't Matter, yes.
"Don't Matter"?
Yes.
Is it your latest song?
That's not my latest song.
Okay.
But
it's the last one I saw you perform. I'll say that.
yeah. Okay. Boom. Okay. Yeah. So that
Yeah.
song is actually really old. That song.
What?
Yeah. So me and my friend Liala, who also goes here, when we started making music again, I sang earlier, like me and a couple friends were making music. He's one of those people. So we made that song in high school. I want to say senior year maybe.
Yeah.
And it just never ended up happening. It never ended up coming out because we were always like, oh, we gotta get a music video and da-da-da-da. And it just never happened, so we never put the song out.
Yeah.
That's like one thing that I feel like a lot of artists do. Like they set the bar super high
So
and they
high.
end up not really doing anything.
Talk
That was
about
us.
it. Yeah.
And that was me for a long time. Still me a little bit, but I'm getting better. But that song is really old, but it came out. We were like, man, let's just drop it. Like, what are we doing?
Yeah.
Song, like, it's nothing. There's no reason to not put it out.
It don't really matter.
And it did pretty good. We put that with another song too, and it's fun to perform. Yeah.
And you have such a presence that you sort of draw people in. Like some people were playing volleyball, and then
I
we're
saw
just
that.
like,
That's very
what's
true.
going on over there?
Yeah.
And then it started like building a crowd. How would you say, as an artist, like, how have you built your stage presence? What's key characteristics to having good stage presence?
I've come a very long way. So I've always been in the arts, theater arts. I actually used to act when I was younger. I used to be in the theater.
No, you told me this.
Yeah, I did like the monologue. What's it called? The monologue contest or something like that.
Oh,
but I will say, like, you have to understand, like, people take your energy. So if you're up there and you have low energy, or you're up there and you're not confident in yourself, people will realize that. And I would say, like, a good tip for any artist is record yourself. Like, have someone record you when you are performing, because you'll be able to see it. You'll be able to see yourself and, like, dang, I don't look like I'm confident. And that's what happened to me. Like, I had my freshman year, I had a performance and it was, like, not that good. So ever since then, I kind of, like, I've been practicing.
That's it, right.
Yeah.
And moving forward, what projects do you look forward to putting out, or what do you have ahead?
So I've been working on this album for a hot little minute, but I keep having to, like, figure out really what it is that I want it to sound like and to be. But right now, I put out Outsiders 1. Outsiders 2 will be dropping in the next, like, month or so. But
So look out for that.
Yeah, but I got a couple singles on the way. Just want to make sure everything is, like, in the right, everything is good, so that when it comes out, I have, content and everything. We live in that age now.
We need content.
So Outsiders 2, that's gonna be dope.
That's tough.
Yeah.
And thank you for being here.
I
This has
appreciate
been
you.
so exciting.
Yeah, no, thank you for having me.
Yes.
This is dope.
And thank you so much for joining us. I've been your host, Destinee Coburn, and this has been Bison Entertainment.